Hey man, welcome back to Man Time. Today's episode, Stage 3, Stihl 036. Let's do it. Welcome to Man Time. Alright guys, if you've been following along with this series, this is my barn find Stihl 036. First one was just getting it running. Second stage 2 episode for this one was getting it fully serviced and then putting it back in the wood. This stage 3, we're going all the way. We're taking the jug off of there. We're going to get a good look at everything. We're going to do a muffler mod. If you you may have been able to see already. I already kind of started. I started without you. But there's something really cool and really interesting on this one. That last video you saw, we did a compression check on it. What was the compression? Any guesses down below? Let's do it. Let's do a pull over here. Just stays right there. Super good compression. What do you guys think the piston looks like? What does that tell you? What does that tell you the piston should look like? Let me show you what it does look like. Alright, like I was saying, I got a little bit ahead of you guys doing this. And I also went out and I got some new tools. Look at this. Klein Tools, T-Style, Allen, with the Torx, T27. Let's time this. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi, 9 Mississippi, 10. There we go. Now, on the other hand, you have got this here, right? So once you go with this system and you realize how much faster it is, there's really no going back, right? So I ordered that and then I used it and then I was like, why would I stray from what works? So 10 seconds versus 2, 3. I mean, the time savings on something like this is just unbeatable. But so I got a little bit ahead the last episode. I wanted to dig in here. I wanted to see what the piston was going to look like because I don't have another piston, right? So I opened this up and, oh, I also did the muffler mod on it here. But look in here. Look what I'm seeing. Can you guys see what is going on in here? That's what I want to know. Look right in here at this piston. What is that? This piston is garbage. Look in here. Can you see the piston? Look at it again. Right there. Chewed up. Chewed up. And I just showed you the compression. I did the compression check. It's 150. This is why I like a 2-ring piston. Right there. This sucker was running excellent, cutting excellent, good compression. Look at all that piston damage. You kidding me? Why wouldn't you want 2 piston rings? Anyways, let's get this thing apart, get the jug off of here, and look at it. So, like I've said previously, this is my first time working on a 36 or 360 or 26 or 46 or any of the newer Stihl chainsaws. They're just, I mean, everybody that has one, I think they're made out of gold or something. Alright, so we got our plate. It's turned back around toward the cylinder. And it is pretty gunky. And then we've got our little single-use gasket there, crush gasket it looks like. We'll be reusing that. Get all that sprayed out and cleaned up. Oh, look at there. Got a... I don't know what that is. Okay, see, so here's what I'm talking about. These are Torx. Well, what they look like is Torx anyway. Get down here and see if we can clean them up a little bit. Yeah, that's a Torx down here. Let's see if this T27 is going to make it through. Oh, it does. Yes. See, this is why I got these longer bits here. I got the T-handle thinking, you know, this is going to be what I need to get down through here, and it still might have been. I mean, I still, you know, this might have had too big of a shank, so I ordered both, like, for the just in case. But luckily, this makes its way all the way down there. But I'm going to probably crack them with this one. What else do we have to do to get this off of here? It looks like we've got our carb boot on here. And... okay, so it's a flathead that I can get kind of from right down here. I'm also going to want to take this handle off. Again, we've got T27s just all over it. So one tool and you're, taking this whole thing apart, which I really like. I mean, really like. That is awesome. Well thought out. It's just so much simpler to get this stuff out of your way. And when you're using an electric tool like that, I mean, it makes it just real easy, of course. Let's see, what else do we got here? Another T27 there, possibly a T27 under here. I just want to get as much stuff out of my way as I can. And it's behind this, so I'm just going to leave it there. That's how we're playing it with you. So that's going to stay on there. Alright, flathead from this side down in here through here to get the carb boot off. Not sure that I like that. There it is. There it is. They left us a hole. That's really good. Now, I don't know if there's a nut on the other side of that, so that is as far as I'm going to go with that. Now, I want to get this spark plug out of there, and then we'll get the jug off of there. So, what I'm seeing here with the Stihl saw, it's a really nice compartmentalization between working on the front half and working on the back half, or working on the head here. You've got a really nice separation. If you're just working on the carb, all you need to worry about is this part, and it's, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then if you're working on this one, you take that off, you take the handle off, and you've got everything accessed right here. You can access the screw for the carb boot here, the intake boot. Really nice and easy to work on. And this is one of the things I was complaining about when I started working on the Huskies, right? They're so much more difficult to maintain. But anyways, let's get this thing off of here. Oh, that wasn't even tight. I was like, well, I'm going to save on my electric tool and break these off. But it's not too bad. Yeah, I really want you guys to see this piston. Oh, my boot's on there. We gotta get the boot off. There we go. There's one, there's two. We've got one that fell down. Oh, man. Yeah, see, there's no way to really keep this stuff out of there. Out of the bottom end. That's what I'm talking about. Did it fall out? Oh, there it is. Alright, all four. And the one nice thing, see, the piston rings are loose, but look at this piston. Let me get you up in here. See what's going on. See what's going on there? 150 psi compression. I mean, this thing is scored. Bad. Top of the piston, below the rings, all over. So, alright. I'm going to shove some paper towels down here, see if I can't keep some of this stuff from blowing down in there. And then blow it out one more time, and then we'll get this piston off of here. So on this one here, it looks like you're going to need a pick to get the circlips out of here. There's really no other way that I see to get in here and lift it up out of there. I mean, it is really in there. Yeah. Looks like they've maybe rotated a bit. Now, maybe I can get it from the other side. So you need to kind of lift it into the window and then push it out. It looks like be the easiest way. Oh, I think I had it there. Oh, this is a joy. Yeah, nothing to grab onto with a needle nose on this one. So we're just gonna have to kind of work it out. I mean, this is the kind of stuff, like, you know, that's important to me when I'm watching a YouTube video or making one. Trying to get this out of here is just, it's a hard task, right? So showing you guys how to do this is important, because this is, you know, the stuff when you watch some people's videos, they just kind of glaze over it, and, you know, it's just kind of a difficult thing. Let me show you on this other side here, after we get this wrist pin out. Which is also difficult. And this is a really small wrist pin, much smaller than the Husqvarna's. But there again, the weight savings is there. So, you know, you've got to decide, like, what's your main priority when you're looking at your power saw. Stihl, much smaller, much lighter, right? But look at this clip here. There's no way to get in here and get it with these. There's just, you know, you're trying to get in there and you're trying to get it, and then what I ended up using was a really fine pick, getting up under here and rotating it off that way. But it still was not easy, and it was actually easier to rotate it around to get the end of it down here if you can. But I mean, it's in there pretty darn good. So, but anyways, let's look a little bit closer. So here's our intake side. You can see our rings are aligned on this side, and then on this other side is where we've got just all of that damage. And I just showed you guys the amazing compression that this thing had. Now let's look at the jug. So here's our jug. We've got, oh boy, look, male 48 NZ14. You guys seeing this? Male 48 NZ14. Is that made in the USA? Last time I checked, I don't remember it was. How did they put made in the USA on their saw? Interesting. No, they did some funky stuff back in the early to mid 90s there, when it was like, you know, buy American made, you know, for the Gulf War effort and stuff like that, when we had, you know, inflation rising because the Bushes like to. Anyways, this is our cylinder, and it is that dark, like really gray, you know, that you don't typically see on a male piston, or on a male cylinder, sorry. Alright, let's look on the inside here. Down in here, on the transfers, looks really darn good. Intake looks really nice. I don't feel anything there. But the big question is with this exhaust. And you can see there, we've got some transfer. But I don't feel anything, like it's not. And what you want to do is take your fingernail and just run it along. And I'm catching my nail just a little bit right there, but it feels like transfer. So what I'm going to do is take some fine grit sandpaper, sand that down, and see if we can't salvage this cylinder. If you'd like to get one of these shirts, well, good luck. My wife barely made one for me. Standard troll response from man time here. But anyways, for this transfer, what I'm doing is just taking, I've got some 400 grit and just running it kind of like how I would just scuff up the piston after porting. And where I was able to catch my fingers before, I am not able to now. And you can see right in this area, right in here, right there, there was, I mean, it's still discolored, but the transfer that was there isn't there anymore. And I think we're still going to have a salvageable cylinder. One other thing I wanted to show you here on the piston, the rings are actually like not damaged whatsoever. Like right where it was rubbing and this was happening here, probably from that fuel line, rings are fine, and they have got an M stamped on them. I'm positive you can't see this, but I think these are male rings here, and they have definitely withstood the test of time. So, I don't know why male just doesn't make rings. We've got to buy the Caber ones, but these seem like they would be a kind of superior product. Okay, so where do we go from here? Look at this. Nice, clean, blown out, half a can of brake clean, getting all that where it needs to be. So, let's get our wrist pin bearing out of here. Looks good. Yeah, I guess the next step is to figure out how to time the thing. We'll get the rings off of this. Sometimes you can do it with just your mitts here. You take and just basically pry up under here, pry up under there, pry it up and over, and there we go. Man, that seems... Oh, and I just sliced the crap right out of my finger. Just running it around there. Well, you aren't working unless you're bleeding. Yeah, male. Yeah, male piston. Right inside of this side here. Male. A little blood on it. Maybe we can hook up our timing wheel on this side here. See if we can get that set up. Man, I don't know about you, but this is my favorite part of porting. Alright, so I've got the piston all cleaned up. I've got the jug all cleaned up. One thing you can do here, if you can't see like which way the exhaust went out, what you're doing there is looking for these pins that are locating your piston rings. They're always going to be pointed toward the intake side, so you can easily, figure that out that way. Not everybody knows that, so, good little tip there. And we'll get our piston on here, no rings. And I've also taken the time, just like anything else, it's all in the details. The project that you're working on is going to come out with the amount of effort you put into it, right? I mean, there's some amount of knowledge that maybe you're learning here that's going to be beneficial to you. But like, for instance, cleaning the mating surfaces. Taking a good piece of known flat tool steel that you've used to clean gaskets for a long time. You can get decent ones at the part store, but I know this is a good, super flat, hard piece of tool steel. Not a sharp edge on it. I'm not going to cut myself if I slip, even though I cut myself on that ring. But I know it's flat, and I know that it's not going to gouge the mating surfaces there at the same time. So, first thing we're going to do here is put a bolt in either side of the, I guess we can just put this boot on there so it quits messing around with us. So this is going to be very interesting. Without the base gasket, how tight is the squish going to be? Alright, here we go. For the squish, what we're going to do is we're going to stick our piston is right there at the top. There we go. Let's get it rotated up past the exhaust port. Okay, now we just kind of yard it over. Ooh, hello. I like the way that's looking. Okay, so that was right up against the edge. There is how much the piston came up and squished this. Of course, we cut off a new piece, got a new little section there. Alright, 23. Very nice. But that's not the end of the story. What I actually need to do is put in the piston that I'm going to use here, because this could be completely different. Some of these pistons that have that pop-up, all they do is machine down the edge here, and they don't do anything about the height between here and here. So this piston, because of this, 15 thousandths pop-up, so now it could have like 30 thousandths squish, and we're kind of starting over. Alright, now we have our new pop-up piston installed in the jug. We want to bring it down and coming up and past the exhaust, and we're going to use some rosin core solder here and check our squish. Oh yeah. Okay, I think we got her. Now we'll see how good of a piston this is, if it matches up with the stalker. Oh, look at there. 20 thousandths. 20 thousandths. It's actually a little bit below what the stock one was. So they made this piston right. This is a perfect piston. Now when I use the gasket sealer, the liquid gasket, it's going to bring it up just a touch, and I'll be right really where I want to be. Just above 20 thousandths for that squish. Alright, what am I doing? Let's just time this thing, huh? Alright, so there's not a lot of people that know how to do this. I used to be one of them. So I'm going to be setting up my timing wheel, and one thing we want to do is get set up somewhere where we can have something drape over the timing wheel to tell us where top dead center is. So I'm just going to use this screw for the handle. I think this will serve just fine. I've got a chuck here. It's a quick chuck. This is, let's see here, San-O. I don't know, cheapest one off Amazon. That came with like some different kind of adapter type of bits there, and then I adapted one and put some threads in it to put a Allen head screw in. Okay, and now we're going to look inside here at our piston. So right around here is top dead center. So I'm going to kind of line this up with this, and then get this over here, kind of just in place. And then I've got a piston stop where we can then kind of check to make sure that it's pretty darn close, or exactly. Right? Alright, so down. Oh, see, that just turned. See, we don't want that. So let's tighten it up a little bit. Alright, so right here I'm pretty close to top dead center. And this is one of the reasons why you kind of want to rotate from the chuck once it's nice and snug in there. Alright, so rotate that down, put our piston stop in here. And this is how we find top dead center. Man, if you guys would take the time here to like and or subscribe so you can find the other videos in this series, and then also, it helps support the channel having, more than 5 subscribers. So, it's good stuff all around. Alright, so we got our piston stop in there. It's tight. Now we want to find right around top dead center where we are. So, and then we can kind of adjust this. Right now we're pretty darn close, right? We're coming up and we're hitting, pretty close. So we've got top dead center here. It's trying to come up, but it's hitting that piston stop, right? Let's get you in a little closer to take a look. Oh man, yeah, this is my favorite part. Okay, so right here we're at 50, and then right around here we're at 40. So we need to come up against that piston stop and then just adjust this until we get to kind of where we want to be here. So right here we want to be at 45 because we were at 50 and 40, right? So right in the middle should be 45. A little bit of perspective difference, but you kind of get the idea. You want to really get down here and look straight on at it, and we are it's going to be right at like 44.5, and I'm dead on there. Okay. So the first part of timing that we do is we shine a flashlight down the exhaust, or down the spark plug hole, and we want to rotate in the direction that the chain spins, right? Away from you on top, toward you on the bottom. And we're going from top dead center down. And we want to look for a ray of light when it first starts to crack, and that's going to be right there. So before bottom dead center, we are at, let's see, 75. Let's see, I want to see 79. That's pretty healthy. 79. Okay. Exhaust duration is going to be 79 degrees. Before bottom dead center, which is going to equal 158. And the way that you do that, 79 times 2, 158, or if you kind of round up to 80, 80 times 2 is 160 minus 2, 158. So that's our exhaust duration. Now we want to look inside and look for our blowdown, and that's the distance from when our exhaust opens to the transfers opening. And you look down through the spark plug hole there. I know, it's a lot of information. I want to try to explain it the best I can. So we come up to top dead center. We know our exhaust opens at somewhere in there. And then we look down the side here. And right when we see that cracking open, check both sides, starting to crack open. Somewhere's right in there. I'm going to call it. So we are at 57.5, maybe 58. No, we'll call it 57. Alright, so blowdown opens at 57, and then 79 minus 57. So let's see here. We've got 2 and 2. It looks like 22 degrees. Right? Yeah, 22 degrees. That's actually really good. We may not even want to touch this exhaust at all. They say that these are happy around 155. We're at 158. I mean, that might just be what we want to be. Okay, let's look at our intake. See, now the other thing is we took out our base gasket, right? So the intake duration was longer because the cylinder was higher up. So we may want to take a little off to compensate, but I don't know. We'll think on that. Alright, so I was able to open the throttle and look through here and see where it's opening. And it's opening right there. Yeah, just starting to crack right there. Man, right at 79. Are you kidding me? Wow. So this saw, without the base gasket and with this pop-up, is sitting at 158. Holy smokes. So we've got 158, 22, 158. You know what? I may not even do any. I mean, this is really good. This is exactly where I want to be, actually. I'm just going to slap this thing back together, I think. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to think about it overnight and think about what I'm doing here. But, I mean, 158, 22, 158, that is a good ported cylinder in most cases. So they really knew what they were doing with this saw. Alright guys, that was a lot of information to digest. I think I'm going to end the video right there. If you like these type of videos, make sure to subscribe. Get your t-shirts by commenting down below to my wife and bug her enough and maybe she'll make you one, I don't know. But next episode, I'm going to sleep on it. I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do with the port timing. 158, 22, 158. I mean, it seems like a winner. And maybe why it ran so good. I don't know. But we'll think about it. Come back for part 4 of this series next week and we'll figure it out. Thanks for joining me today on Man Time, guys. Get out there. Have you some man time too.